Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something really foundational for anyone dealing with IT audit.
Yeah, we're looking at how an IT audit function actually, defines itself within a company, its role, its responsibilities.
Exactly, like the blueprint for their entire operation. And our main source here is the IT Audit Framework, or ITF, from ISACA.
Right, ITF. Think of it as this, really comprehensive guide. ISACA's been developing it for, over 50 years now?
Wow, 50 years. So not exactly new kids on the block.
Definitely not. They're global, 145,000 members, 188 countries. Big focus on trust in information systems, security, governance, risk, all that.
And ITF is kind of the practical output of all that experience, yeah.
It really is. It gives the professional practices for IT audit. It's aimed at assurance practitioners, sure, but honestly, it's useful way beyond just them.
Okay, so ISACA brings the heavyweight expertise, ECF distills it. But you mentioned broader relevance. Why should, say, someone in management care about this?
Well, even if you're not doing the audit, understanding how the audit function sees its job, it makes interactions smoother.
How so?
For management, it clarifies what to expect, ensures the audit team is aligned with, strategy. For the folks being audited, it's about transparency, understanding the why and what of the audit.
Okay, so it helps everyone get on the same page, makes the whole thing more valuable.
Exactly. It's about common understanding, maximizing value.
Right, now ITF itself, it's not just one huge block of text. I remember there's a structure.
That's right. You basically got standards and guidelines. Key difference.
Let me guess, mandatory versus recommended.
You got it. Standards use shall. They are mandatory, absolutely required. Guidelines use should. They're the recommended practices, the tools, the how-to suggestions.
So standards must do. Guidelines, good idea. Here's how.
Pretty much. Standards are the what, guidelines are more the how.
Makes sense. And who exactly needs to follow ITF? Like, who's it written for?
It's specifically for IT audit and assurance practitioners. Anyone providing independent assessments on IT controls, systems, infrastructure.
So if your job is checking IT effectiveness, security, risk, compliance, ITAF is your rulebook.
It's your professional compass, yeah. Best practices are laid out there.
Okay. And for this deep dive, we're not trying to swallow the whole ITF whale, right? We're focusing.
Exactly. Way too much for one sitting. We're looking at the absolute foundation, General Standard 1001, which is the audit charter standard,
Okay.
and its partner, General Guidelines 2001. These two really set the stage.
The audit charter sounds important, like the functions constitution or something.
That's a great way to put it. It defines why IT audit exists in the organization, what it does, its authority, who it reports to, mission statement, and operating principles all in one.
Okay, so we're breaking down the what and why of IT audit's existence. Let's start with General Standard 1001, Audit Charter.
The core requirement. The absolute core, 1001.1, says the IT audit function shall document its purpose, responsibility, authority, and accountability in an audit charter.
And there's that word shall again. Mandatory. No ifs, ands, or buts.
None. It's fundamental. Isaac is very clear on this.
Why the insistence on writing it down? What's the big deal about formalizing it?
Clarity, mainly, and legitimacy. It avoids confusion about what the team does or doesn't do. Plus, and this is key, Section 1001.2 says the charter must be formally agreed and approved by governance.
Governance. You mean like the board?
Yeah.
Audit committee?
Exactly. That top-level sign-off is critical. It shows the organization values the function, supports its work. Without that buy-in, recommendations might just sit there.
Yeah, you need that weight behind it.
Yeah.
So you get it written, approved, then does it just go on a shelf?
Oh, definitely not. Or it shouldn't. Section 1001.3 emphasizes communication. The function shall communicate the charter to executives, senior management.
Okay.
And importantly, relevant bits need to be shared with the people actually being audited.
Setting expectations up front. So the auditees know the scope, the purpose, the auditor's authority.
Precisely. It fosters transparency, makes it less, adversarial,
Yeah.
more collaborative.
And what about change? Companies change all the time. Does the charter keep up?
It absolutely has to. That's High 1001.4. It requires periodic review. You need to make sure it still aligns with the company's mission, its strategy.
And especially if big things change.
Yes. If there are significant changes in the organization or even in IT audit's own responsibilities, you review and update the charter. Maybe the company goes heavy into cloud.
The charter needs to reflect that focus on cloud risks and controls.
Exactly. It keeps the audit function relevant, focused on what matters now.
Okay, a living document, not a relic. Got it.
Think
So
so.
that's the standard, the what and why. Now, General Guidelines 2001. This is the how-to.
That's the idea. Guideline 2001 gives the practical direction for implementing Standard 1001. So 2001.1 reinforces the need for that clear mandate, ideally in a charter approved by governance. And it covers the situation where maybe there isn't a dedicated IT audit charter, but a broader internal audit one.
What happens then?
The guideline says the IT audit part, its mandate, responsibilities, needs to be clearly spelled out within that larger charter. No ambiguity allowed.
Okay, makes sense. Dedicated or integrated, just make it clear. What should actually be in this charter, according to the guidelines? The nitty-gritty details.
Well, Guideline 2001.2 lists the essentials. It starts with purpose, responsibility, authority, accountability, linking right back to the standard.
The core four.
Yep. But it adds more practical stuff, too, like protocols for engagements, how communication happens, escalation paths. Also, the roles and responsibilities of the auditee.
Oh, interesting. What's expected of the team being audited?
Yeah, clarity on that. And finally, the charter should cover IT audit's role in reporting, well, bad stuff, irregularities, potential illegal acts they find.
Seems pretty comprehensive. Can we dig into those core four elements? Purpose, responsibility, authority, accountability as the guidelines see them. Let's start with purpose.
Sure. Guideline 2001.2.3 unpacks purpose. It says the main role is evaluating and testing management's controls over IT, design, execution, the whole thing.
So checking if the controls work as intended.
Basically. The guidelines suggest the charter should state the function's aims and goals, its organizational context. If there's a mission statement for IT audit, include that. It frames how they help improve risk management, internal control, IT governance.
So purpose defines the why and the contribution to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
What about scope? Does purpose cover what they do and don't audit?
Yes, absolutely. Scope is crucial under purpose. Does it cover the whole enterprise? Specific units, specific systems, needs to be defined.
And the types of work.
That too. It should list the kinds of audits they might do. Info systems audits, compliance, maybe financial IT aspects, operational reviews, even specialized stuff.
Like what?
Things like third-party audits, fraud investigations, forensic work, maybe even computer forensics. It could also cover non-audit services like consulting on IT projects.
Wow, okay. That's a potentially broad remit. Let's move to responsibility then, Guideline 2001.2.4. What are the key duties here?
The number one responsibility, add value to the enterprise. That means aligning with strategy, mission, regulations. Also, upholding professional ethics, keeping skills sharp through development.
Standard professional stuff.
Right. But crucially, the charter must address independence.
Ah, yes. The bedrock of auditing. How do the guidelines handle the practical side of independence?
They stress implementing independence, both organizational and individual auditor objectivity that links to other standards, 1002 and 1003. Specifically, Guideline 2001.2.4 recommends assessing independence formally at least once a year.
An annual checkup.
Yep. Identify any threats and have a formal way to report any impairments, any situation where independence might be compromised.
And it gets told.
Those results, any impairments, must go to governance, the board, audit committee, full transparency.
Okay. Actively managing and reporting on independence.
Yeah.
What else under responsibility? I see something about external auditors.
Yes, the relationship with external audit firms. The charter should outline how internal IT audit will work with them, maybe relying on some of their work, coordinating plans to avoid overlap.
Makes sense, efficiency-wise.
Sharing working papers if appropriate, considering external findings when planning internal audits. It's all about collaboration and better overall coverage.
Smart. Any other big responsibilities listed?
Yeah. Defining auditee expectations is mentioned again. What services and deliverables can they expect? And clarifying responsibilities like management needs to provide access, make people available.
Setting the ground rules for interaction.
Exactly. And finally, the responsibility to stick to professional standards. ISACA ITAF is specifically called out naturally, but also any other relevant bodies the auditors belong to.
Okay, so responsibility is broad value, independence, collaboration, clarity, standards.
Got it.
Now, authority. 2001.2.5. What powers does IT audit need?
To do its job, it needs real authority. The guidelines say the charter should grant unrestricted access.
Unrestricted. To what?
Records, personnel, physical locations, anything relevant to the audit. They need the authority to get the information required to actually perform their duties properly.
That sounds pretty powerful, but necessary, I suppose, if they're going to do a thorough job.
It is. Without that access, their ability to provide assurances, well, seriously limited.
Right. Okay, last one. Accountability. 2001.2.6. Who are they answerable to and for what?
They're accountable for running their own function properly, good administration, sound project management for audits, and they're accountable for sticking to the charter itself and to those professional standards we mentioned.
So accountable for doing your job well, efficiently, ethically, and within the agreed boundaries.
That sums it up nicely. It ensures they operate effectively and can be held responsible for their performance.
Okay, this deep dive into 1001 and 2001 really clarifies things. The audit charter is clearly the cornerstone for a credible IT audit function.
It really is. So just to recap, Standard 1001 mandates the charter, defining purpose, responsibility, authority, accountability, the why, what, how, and to whom.
The essentials.
Then Guideline 2001 gives the practical how-to developing it, maintaining it, stressing things like independence, scope, all those responsibilities we discuss.
It's clear this isn't just paperwork. A properly defined, approved charter is vital for IT audit to actually be effective and add value.
Absolutely essential. Without it, you risk an audit function that's kind of drifting, lacking direction, maybe lacking support from the top, and certainly lacking that shared understanding across the organization about what they do.
Yeah. So a final thought for everyone listening. Imagine an IT audit team operating without that clear, approved charter. What kinds of problems, what risks could that create for the organization? Something to mull over, definitely.
And, if this discussion sparked your interest in IT audit practices, do explore the rest of ITIA. There's a lot more valuable detail in the other standards and guidelines.
Great point. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.